Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Doing good.
Great. If you can kindly put in the chat where you're joining us from, and then also you can put a hashtag Team Live in there, and you can use that to renew any certifications that you is coming up for renewal. And you are all very much welcome. We were off last week. We are back at it again, and this week we are looking at a very interesting discussion. And you're all invited to chime in as we're moving along. And as we are moving along, we are going to give Matthew a big shout out. Matthew just landed his first cybersecurity role, so we're very excited. Exciting week for us, and maybe we'll give Matthew the floor to also give some insights during his interview process and the whole process that he went through. Right, but tonight we are going to be looking at uh, a discussion or a topic that is not only for aspiring cybersecurity professionals, but it's for everybody. Even if you're in the security space, it's always good to stay abreast with what is going on in terms of the skills, in terms of the knowledge to make you better and sharpen your skills and your knowledge base as a security professional. So we appreciate everybody for spending time and to sharing the knowledge with us. And like I always say, it's Friday night. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us tonight, and we don't take that lightly. And we are going to make sure you have something for your toolbox tonight. So without wasting much time, I think we are all set. So yes, I have the green light. We can start time now. All right. So you're all very much welcome. This is Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. And like I always say, it's Friday night. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. So that means you are ready to add some more knowledge and some tools to your toolbox as a security professional, aspiring security professional, trying to switch careers. And we are going to make sure you are going to have your time spent with us is not going to be wasted, right? So this is brought to you by Eretmis Academy. And Eretmis Academy is a cybersecurity institute based out of New York, and we train cybersecurity professionals. We have different career paths. If you are trying to start in the security space, we have the best program for you that is going to help you get to your destination as a security professional. I'm going to be your pilot tonight, and everybody else that is going to be chiming in is going to be our co-pilot. So a little bit about myself, Dr. Emmanuel Edu. I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm a member of Forbes Technology Council, the CEO of Eretmis Inc., a cybersecurity consulting firm, and we are also a PCI QSA company. We do QSA, PCI assessment or audits, if you want to call it that way. And then we do other cybersecurity projects as well, both on the government side, on the corporate side as well. I'm a former professor at University of Maryland Global Campus and CTC, and then also the founder of Eretmis Academy. So Eretmis Academy, we are partners with CompTIA. And what that means is that we have a 20% discount that we get by being partners, authorized partners with CompTIA, and we afford that to all cyber chat participants and all our Eretmis Academy family. If you are looking to sit for any CompTIA certification, you reach out to us and we'll show you how you'll be able to get a 20% discount on any certification. And then also, I mentioned earlier, you can put hashtag Team Live in the chat, and some folks are creative with that. They put the date on there, right? So you can put hashtag Team Live. And if you take a screenshot of that, you can use that for your continuing educational points. So if you are new to the security space, when you sit for a certification, there are two ways to renew. Every 3 years, you have to renew. Unlike certifications like the one from PCI, which you have to renew every year. This you have to renew. For other certifications, you have to renew every 3 years. And two ways to renew. You can resit for the exam, or you can use what we call the continuing educational points. And attending programs like this every 45 minutes to an hour counts as one CEU or CPE, depending on the certification body. So as many of these that you can have, you can use that to renew your certification without resitting for the exam, right? So you can put hashtag Team Live in the chat, or if you're on YouTube, you can also do the same over there. So for Eretmis, we have our Eretmis group, WhatsApp group. We have the link will be posted. It's a very good group, very informative, very educative. And I encourage everyone who is looking to, if you're already in the security space or looking to jump onto the cybersecurity space, to join this group. Is really helpful, educative group. And then also everything that we are doing for Cyber Chat, we put it on YouTube. So you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you are going to get all the previous videos that we've posted on YouTube as well. And tonight we are going to be looking at one cyber news, and then we will jump into our discussion how to build an in-demand cybersecurity skills in 2025. Right. So we first look at what in-demand cybersecurity skills are in the first place, and then we look at how we'll be able to build such skills to be also in demand for on the job market. Right. So we'll look at cyber news first. Now, in the news tonight is Microsoft. Anybody heard anything from Microsoft? You can raise your virtual hand if you know anything going on with Microsoft in terms of cyber news or what is going on. You can raise your virtual hand and we'll give you the floor. Well, it has to do with Microsoft SharePoint. Anybody? Okay. So, anybody familiar with Microsoft SharePoint? I think maybe a couple of you might be using it on the job, but you might probably not be aware, right? So it's you're in your different companies. If you're not using maybe Azure or any of these services, where mostly you have your resources and you can easily, go on there and, access some of these resources, your files, folders, that you post on there. Mostly in the military is very common. They use a lot of SharePoints, different units. They have a lot of SharePoint. So it's just simply, servers that are used to store uh, documents and our data, right? Now, this week or sometime last week, coming into this week, there's been a zero-day attack or a zero-day vulnerability that has been identified in SharePoint. And it started around, and attackers, they've actually started exploiting this, right? So Microsoft couldn't have the chance of coming up with the patch to patch this vulnerability. Attackers have already started, it started going live. So since July 7th, they've started exploiting this, and it's been going through since, 18th to 19th. And it has impacted some government agencies, educational agencies, energy, corporate sector across the United States, and then also some parts of Europe, right? And the CVE numbers for the vulnerabilities, the critical zero-day flaws in Microsoft SharePoint is what has been shared on here. Now, just for educational purposes, what are CVEs? And this is not the first time that we are asking this during cyber chats. So if you are new, maybe, and you don't know, somebody might be able to maybe school us on this. What are CVEs when it comes to vulnerabilities? Or before we even get into that, what is a zero-day vulnerability? Anyone, you can raise your virtual hand. Anyone want to give it a shot? I know a lot of folks on here. I can even call by names who know this. Yes, let's take it away, Michael.
If I recall, isn't a zero-day vulnerability a brand new vulnerability, like one that no one's been able to, like it's new, so no one has a remediation for it.
Yes. George, please go ahead. Right on the
Yes,
money, Mike.
good evening, everyone. It's the same thing. Zero-day vulnerability is a vulnerability that no one knows about it. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Yeah. So now let's vulnerabilities, zero-day vulnerabilities and vulnerabilities in general, what are they? Vulnerabilities, they are simply weaknesses or a weakness in a software or a system, that we are using, right? Now, mostly when it comes to software, this program, Microsoft SharePoint, is a software, right? When it comes to software, for us on the front side, we are using the software, so we don't know how it even came about, right? But what goes into the software is there's a lot of, coding. And coding simply, when we say that, it makes it very technical. People, if you write an essay, if you write a 5-page, 7-page essay, you are coding, but you are coding in English or in whatever language that you are writing it. In the same way, for the developers, they also write kind of an essay, right? But for them, they are able to execute their essay. So it's able to run. So if the essay has to do something, it is able to maybe make some, cartoon jump and sit and jump, or we can input our name, data and stuff, and it's going to save it. Right? So simply when they write code, that is what they are doing. Right. Now, when you write your essay, if you are writing in Microsoft Word, as you are writing, there's going to be some red, lines underneath it for typos and spelling mistakes and grammatical, errors and mechanical errors, right? So, and we correct those as we move along. The same way when it comes to coding, right? For the developers, they are also writing in a different language, and as they write, there are errors that they are correcting along the way. Now, because they are writing so many lines of codes, thousands and millions of codes, lines of code, right? For systems that we are using like Zoom right now for it to work well, always, once they are done, there are some stringent, systems that the code will go through to make sure there are no vulnerabilities, it runs well. But whatever the case is, there is always going to be that vulnerability in there that we wouldn't know about. No matter how much testing we do, no matter what, there's always going to be that in there, right? And when attackers or vulnerability researchers discover it, it's a 0-day vulnerability. Now, where did we get? It's a vulnerability, but it's a 0-day vulnerability. Where did we get? Why 0-day? So for any vulnerability that is identified, until the owners of that software comes up with a patch to remediate that vulnerability, the vulnerability remains a 0-day. So 0-day simply meaning nobody has a solution to that or a remediation to that vulnerability. Right. Now, once Microsoft comes up with a patch, and the patch is simply writing another code to correct that, error in that first code, right? Once that is done, the vulnerability moves from 0-day into a normal vulnerability, just like any other vulnerability, right? So 0-day, nobody knows about it. And because nobody knows, and not nobody knows, we know about it, but there's no patch to it. Because there's no patch to it, organizations can really not do much. They can put in place some, maybe compensating controls to protect systems that will have that 0-day vulnerability. But really, they can't really do much in terms of patching until the owners of the software comes up with a patch, right? So now, until Microsoft comes up with patch for these 2-3 0-day vulnerabilities, we just have to, maybe put in place, be innovative or be creative and come up with some, innovative ideas to be able to protect systems or SharePoints that we are using on the job, right? And this is where your fundamentals and, your basic understanding of cybersecurity really comes into play, because there is really no right or wrong answer for this. How do we protect ourselves? We have a 0-day. There is no patch for it. So what are some of the things that we can do to protect ourselves as a company, right? That is where now cybersecurity professionals like yourself, you have to start digging into your toolbox. What are we going to do? Okay, so now you come up with different strategies and different techniques and different stuff like that, right? So you can all, start doing your research and coming up with, if there's a 0-day, what are some of the things that you can do about it? Now, about 400 organizations worldwide, they've embraced through this 0-day vulnerability and still counting, right? And some of the the bad actors who've been taking advantage of this, are some well-known hacking groups out there, like Typhoon and other ones right out there. So that is just a little bit about 0 day and cyber news for today. So look into this cyber news. You'll be able to learn more and break it down even further. Right. So before we jump into our discussion tonight, we've partnered with Climb. Climb is our latest partner. They are actually a financing agency. They finance different courses and for different schools, and they partnered with us. And they have affordable rates, and their interest rates also very decent, and the approval rate is also very high. They approve almost everybody. And we run through the catalog of courses that Eretmis has. So for AI, AI has been a buzzword all over the place. Now, as security professionals, we have to jump onto the AI wagon before it becomes too late for us, because now our job as security professionals is gradually going to be intertwined with what we do for AI, because we also have to protect AI. Every company is using different forms of AI. So how do we protect these AIs? How do we manage them? How do we reduce the bias? How do we mitigate or the risks that comes with using AI? How do we manage that? And that is what this course seeks to, make out of you, to become an AI governance specialist, right? So this program, just like all our other programs, we take you through basics, fundamentals in AI, and then we will move you all the way up to intermediate level knowledge and skill. And then you also get to work on some hands-on working on different AI projects as well, AI governance projects. And then we also move into our cloud security. So as security professionals, we also have to learn how to move in the cloud, because almost every company has something in the cloud, right? Now, the principles that we are using in security in general is the same that we are using on the cloud, but still, knowing security, you still need to know your way around in the cloud. Although the principles and the concepts, they still remain the same, but having somebody take you through the different cloud environments and exposing you to what really goes on in there and how to look, and in terms of strategy, how to look at things and plan in there is also, something that you have to know, and something that you have to put in your toolbox as well as a security professional to be very competitive for the job market, right? So our AI, our cloud security professional course, this also makes you a cloud security expert, right? So this is not cloud architect program, it's a cloud security, right? As a security professional, you're not doing cloud architecture necessarily. You're not the one setting up the cloud from scratch and all that. You are looking at the security part. So the cloud architects will do their part, and your part is to make sure the cloud is secure, right? So you can also look into this program if you're looking for some hands-on cloud security work. And we work on different projects in AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, the three big cloud providers out there. Now, for folks who are looking to start from scratch, I'm switching from nursing, from tracking, wherever you are switching from to get into the cybersecurity space, jump onto our cybersecurity entry-level course. This is the best course that is going to make you a cybersecurity professional within the shortest possible time, and the shortest possible time for us is about 4 to 5 months, right? Now, this program starts you off from knowledge. We build your fundamentals, your basics in cybersecurity. Also, you get to use some of the popular cybersecurity tools and practice with these tools. And then we move you into the internship and workshop, where you actually get to work on different cybersecurity projects, like conducting an audit, conducting risk assessment, conducting third-party risk assessment, incident response tabletop exercises, working on policies and procedures, right? Doing policy gap analysis and all that. Pretty fun. So you start by doing, and then you also jump into the hands-on, where you're actually going to work on different projects for two of our sister companies, right? And then we have our PCI DSS payment security compliance. Now, this is for folks who are already in the security space, already in IT. If you're looking to specialize in the most lucrative, arguably the most lucrative niche in the PCI space, then this is the course for you, right? And this is hands down the best PCI course out there. So if you are looking to specialize in the PCI space, look no further, jump onto this. Now, our GRC internship and workshop, our new cohort is starting tomorrow, 26th July. Now, we are starting tomorrow, but our first meeting is going to be on 2nd August. So for all folks who are on this new cohort, our first meeting is going to be next Saturday, not this one. But we are starting tomorrow, and tomorrow, everything in terms of the workshop material and everything is going to be made available for you to go through. And then there are some exercises that you have to perform before we meet on next week, Saturday. And then also for folks who don't know about this, this is where you actually get to, jump in and start digging in the cybersecurity space, right? So you can learn theory all you want on the job. You are not going to be reciting anything, or you are not going to be choosing from a multiple choice questions. You are actually going to be doing. So doing like, hey, help us with our policies, create new policies for us, review the policies that we have. Where are you going to find answers to that, right? And they are looking for you to do it, right? So where do you find the templates that you need? How do you even come up with a list of policies that they actually need? Conduct a risk assessment on our organization, or check our security posture. Let's see where we are in terms of our security posture. How are you going to do that, right? Conduct third party risk assessment on these companies for us. How are you going to do that? Reading is not going to get you there. Watching some YouTube videos is not going to get you there, right? So you actually have to do, right? If you've not done anything, even if you go to interviews and you are lucky and you're able to BS your way through, you cannot BS your way on the job, right? So this is where you actually get to work on these, real world, hands-on projects to really make you ready for the job market as well. So, and for our WhatsApp group, we encourage you to join our WhatsApp group. The link will be posted, and then also everything we are doing is posted on YouTube as well. So we are jumping into how to build in-demand cybersecurity skills in 2025. So we will first be looking at, and this session is for newbies, is for aspiring cybersecurity professionals, is for folks already in the cybersecurity space, right? So it's for everybody. So what are in-demand cybersecurity skills? How do we find in-demand cybersecurity skills? So these skills, simply put, they are cybersecurity skills needed by employers, right? You can have cybersecurity skills all you want. If employers are not looking for those set of skills, is of no use, right? Maybe you can use that to protect yourself and your family, but that's about it, right? So what skills are employers really looking for? Or what is the most sought after cybersecurity skills and capabilities that employers are looking for? And this cuts across government and the corporate side, right? Now, we've done some research. We've gone through hundreds and hundreds of job descriptions, because that is where you are going to find in-demand cybersecurity skills, right? And the results is what we are going to present tonight. So sit back. We are going to take your inputs as we move along, and we were going to have some of you maybe predict or give us your insight before we start looking at the individual items in terms of the in-demand cybersecurity skills, right? So these skills, they help organizations to protect themselves, and also to respond to security incidents, and to do everything that we do in the cybersecurity space, right? So without wasting much time, we are going to jump into some of the key characteristics of in-demand cybersecurity skills. So what are some of the key things that makes in-demand cybersecurity skills in demand, right? So employer valued. So these skills, it has to be valued by employers. Like the example that I gave, if employers are not looking for that, then it's of no use. So these are the most frequently listed, set of skills in job descriptions across multiple cybersecurity roles. Like I said, what we are going to discuss tonight is not, a lot of time and energy went into it. because we also looked across, or we researched across multiple cybersecurity roles, right, through job descriptions that have been posted. And then also market relevance. So skills, they have to align with emerging technologies as well. And we are going to look at that as well. Impact driven. No, these skills have to be impact driven. So they have to have direct impact on how we secure our assets, how we prevent breaches, and then also maintaining a secured network. Adaptive. So these skills, we should be able to evolve, or they should adapt to the changing dynamic, environment in the security space and in the IT space in general, right? So we are looking at some example categories for these in-demand skills. So for the technical side, we have SIM analysis, cloud security, incident response, pen testing. For compliance and governance, or your GRC side, risk assessment, policy development, framework implementation, and some of the emerging uh, skill, like the emerging technology side, skills you need on that side, AI security, like what we are doing in our AI governance course, zero-day architecture, secure DevOps, and threat intelligence, and others. Now, we are going to be looking at the in-demand skills, or in-demand cyber skills. We've categorized them, right? So we are going to look at the broad categories, and then we will, dive deep into the individual skills that we are going to be looking at. So before we jump into the broad categories, what do you think are some of the categories? Right? You can raise your virtual hand and you can give your take. What do you think are going to be one of the categories for in-demand cybersecurity skills for 2025? Any takers on this one? So George, please go ahead.
I'm thinking about cloud, anything about cloud security or anything about cloud.
Okay, cloud security. Yes, thank you. Anybody else? Gabriel,
AI governance.
AI governance. Yep, AI governance. Yes. Anybody else? Are you DJ? Please go ahead.
I'm thinking, thank you, and good evening, everyone. I'm thinking GRC, governance, risk, and compliance.
GRC. Okay, good. There's some great inputs here. Anybody else? Ishmael, please go ahead.
Also, okay, sorry.
No, go ahead. And then Ishmael can have the floor after you.
All right, so I'm also thinking of something around architectures, maybe cloud architecture or something like anything relating to architecture.
Okay. And Ishmael, please go ahead.
I would say soft skills.
Soft skills. All right. Okay. Yep. Ishmael stole a big one. Soft skills. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So great input from everyone. Now let's jump in and see exactly the categories that Eretmis came up with. So first on the list, mastery of the core cybersecurity foundations or fundamentals. Right. The next one, technical and hands-on skills. And we are going to break all these down so you know exactly what we mean by technical hands-on skills or core cybersecurity foundations. The next one, soft skills and business alignment. GRC, yes. Cloud security, identity and access management, AI, automation and emerging technologies, and we have threat intelligence and cyber defense strategy. So we compress a lot of the different skills that we found and we categorized them, right? So we came up with a broad name for everything within that category, right? And if we had to break each of these down and go really in depth, we have to do like 3 parts of this cyber chats, right? But we are trying to compress everything into this one. So let's jump into, we are going to look at the first item, that is the mastery of the core. So what do we mean by the core cybersecurity foundations or fundamentals, right? Now, if maybe a couple of folks also want to give it a shot, what are some of the core cybersecurity or the core foundation knowledge or core fundamentals in cybersecurity that you think will fall under the in-demand cybersecurity skills? Anyone? Okay, Gabriel, please go ahead.
Yeah, so we're looking at skills that has to do with policy creation and development, cloud security, incident response.
Oh, sorry, Gabriel. Please, you can unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry, Doctor. I thought I had it unmuted. Yeah, so we are looking at skills that has to do with governance, that is policy creation and development. We are looking at risk assessment. We are looking at incident response, business continuity, and vulnerability management, and majorly to third-party risk management. I think those are the core ones we should be looking at. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Abraham, please go ahead.
Good evening, Doctor, and good evening to everyone. In my view, I think the basic understanding of the CIA trial forms the core of the cybersecurity.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else? Ayo DJ, please go ahead.
Thank you, Doctor. So I was going to say CIA triad as well, but also maybe adding to that, talking about network security, firewalls, and all of that, and things that has to do with network. In-depth security. What do we call it again? In the defense in depth. Yeah.
Defense in depth. Okay. So the concepts, some of the concepts in security. Okay.
Yeah.
Stella, please go ahead.
Thank you. Knowledge about the cybersecurity frameworks.
Okay. So knowledge about the cybersecurity frameworks. Yes. Christopher, please go ahead.
Good evening, Prof. I think business continuity plan, just judging from what you said this evening, imagine the 0-day vulnerability that you just spoke about earlier. If they did not have a continuity plan, it would be a heck of a disaster.
Yes. Business continuity plan. And what are the if I would say the brothers and sisters of business continuity? I think folks from previous internship or even the ones who just are still in might be able to understand this one.
Disaster recovery.
Mike. Yes, Mike, please go ahead.
One is disaster recovery.
Okay. And what is the other one?
I was doing. That's the one I can remember on top of my mind right
Okay. Abraham, please go ahead.
I also see the various recovery sites to be up and running.
Taking back.
Anybody else?
Contingency plan.
So that will fall under your business continuity and disaster recovery also a little bit. Oh, I think somebody said something, but I couldn't. Okay, so mostly when you talk about incident response, we're also going to talk about disaster recovery. We also talk about business continuity because they are the three sisters or three sisters and brothers that go hand in hand, right? One leads into the other, leads into the other. So when you are planning on one side, you have to be planning on the other side as well, because they all lead into each other, right? So that is something for your toolbox. Now, for when we say the core cybersecurity foundations, just think about it this way. Now, if we say somebody wants to learn English, and we are talking about the core, foundations that you need in English. Just think about it. Like, what do you think when we go to first grade, second grade, or even kindergarten before we get to first grade, and we are teaching kids how to read and write? Where do we start? The basics, the fundamentals, right? So putting words together, and then we move them into forming sentences. We move them into forming short sentences, and then maybe long ones, and so different activities and different stuff that we do. Now in the cybersecurity space, what are we really doing? Overall, everything that we are doing, we are protecting data. That is the main thing that we are doing, protecting data or reducing the risks of data being exposed, and that leads into everything else that we do. Right. So you can protect data without protecting the systems that the data that is being used to process the data, the system that is being used to store the data, the people who are processing the data, the people who are using the systems that are being used to protect. So you see how we can, it can lead into so many other things. And to protect our data from the bad guys, there are so many things that we do. Right. So on the offensive side, folks are doing ethical hacking, trying to breach into our network to be able to identify vulnerabilities. We have vulnerability researchers doing their own thing. On the blue side and the GRC, they are also conducting risk assessments, third-party risk assessments, working on policies, so everything that everybody is doing. Overall goal is to help protect our data. So it can be a specific data or all data. And then the systems that we are using to handle this data, we also have to protect those systems. We also have to, right? So then, it goes on. So the basics and fundamentals, if you don't understand how the data is moving and where it's moving, what systems are used to protect, what systems are used to handle the data, how these systems operate, how they work, how they function, right? The concepts and the principles that we use in protecting and in moving data around. If you really don't understand those, then you can't really do much in security, right? So let's look at the fundamentals or the foundation. So CIA triad. I don't remember who said CIA triad, but I know somebody mentioned CIA triad, and then networking.
I did.
Yes. I think are you the right?
Abraham.
Sorry if I Abraham did. Okay. So the CIA triad, everything that we do in security falls directly under CIA triad, right? Now, if you look at hierarchy in terms of everything that we do in cybersecurity, the hierarchy, on the top, the very top is data, right? And underneath that is everything else that I'm going to discuss and everything else that we do. So our overall goal is to protect that data. And the protection that we are doing is to reduce risks to an acceptable level within your organization. So if you take data out of the picture, what we are doing is everything that everybody is doing in cybersecurity is to reduce risks. I don't care if you're on the blue side, on the red side, whatever you are doing is to contribute to the overall goal of reducing risks to an acceptable level, right? So how do we reduce risks to an acceptable level? And when we talk about reducing risks, what are we really talking about? So the risks of our confidentiality being compromised, the risks of our integrity being compromised, the risks of our availability being compromised. Right? Maybe you've heard about CIA triad, but you just read about it and just memorize what confidentiality is, integrity is. This is really the science behind everything. So the risks, everything that we are trying to do is to help reduce risks of overall risks of our data being compromised. And when we say compromise, the three main areas that we are looking at is the confidentiality of the data, the integrity of the data, the availability of the data. Right. So the confidentiality is the data not getting into the hands of the wrong people or whoever we don't want to have access to, won't have access to. Integrity is not, if somebody gains access to your data, they can alter your data, right? They can add to it, they can delete from it. And the availability, we want to make sure that our data is available to our customers. Our systems are available to our customers to use. So anything that is going to distract or anything that is going to prevent that also will pose some risks to us, right? So the risks that we are trying to mitigate here, we are mitigating risks the risks of confidentiality being breached, the risks of integrity being breached, the risks of availability being breached, right? Now, when we get into confidentiality, just confidentiality, then we move into the techniques and the strategies. Example, using encryption, and other cryptographic, methods to enforce confidentiality, using other techniques to also enforce confidentiality, access control to enforce confidentiality, which leads into identity and access management. Now, when it comes to integrity side, what are some of the things that we can use or do, and the techniques, strategies? Another example, using cryptographic strategies such as using hashing. Kindly mute. I don't know who keeps on muting themselves, but kindly make sure you are muted. All right, I think we can move on. Right, so hopefully everybody is following this progress. Right, now when it comes to availability, we have different strategies and techniques, making sure we have redundancy in place. We are eliminating any single point of failure, and so forth and so on. Now, for each single one of these, we can tackle, there are professionals who are tackling specific part of what I just discussed, and they go more in depth into that, right? So I'm just showing you all the pieces from the top, everything that we do in security, how it all breaks down into everybody's role and what they do. And probably that will let you understand why this is part of the basics and fundamentals that you have to understand, and not just memorize what confidentiality is just for certifications to pass, but to really put it in perspective to understand, why we have this and where it fits in the whole scheme of security. Because if you understand this, then when it comes to the example that we just gave for the cyber news, there's a 0-day vulnerability. There is no patch from Microsoft for it. What are we going to do? So what we are going to do is, it falls back to the basics and the fundamentals. When this 0-day vulnerability is exploited, what are hackers, or the bad guys, which of these three are they really targeting? Would they have access to, or would they breach our confidentiality? Would they breach our integrity, or would they breach our availability, or would they breach a couple of, like, two or more of these, or all three? Right. If they are going to breach confidentiality, then what are we going to do about it? What are some of the techniques and steps and tactics that we can put in place? So you see how everything goes back to the basics and fundamentals. But if you don't understand this, or all you know is just memorize this and say, oh, CIA triad, I know it, and just move on. Now you cannot use that to analyze or break down any problem, real world problem that you're going to find on the job. Right. Now we move into networking fundamentals. Some people are of the view, I don't want to be technical in cybersecurity, I just want to do GRC. Well, the basics, like the core that we are looking at, applies to any area that you want to go into cybersecurity. Whether you want to do GRC, whether you want to do ethical hacking, whatever you want to do, whether it is non-technical or technical, you still need this core. So there's no running away from this one. Right? If you run away from this one, it is going to chase you and catch up with you in the job one day. right? So that is why we are doing this. Networking fundamentals is not going to make you a network engineer. You are not going to know the different types of cables and how to, set up a network and lay. That is not your job as a cybersecurity professional. Now, if you're a network security, you are just doing purely just network security, and from that, you should have done some network engineering before you can branch into that anyways. But for what you need to be able to, a functional knowledge in networking to be able to function or to be able to work as a security professional, you are not going to go in depth as if you are doing network engineering, because you don't need that to be able to function as a cybersecurity professional. So you need network basics and fundamentals. Now understand the different ports and protocols, which ones are secured, why they are secured, which ones are not secured, why they are not secured, and why they are weak, why we should desist from using them, right? Understanding these basic fundamentals and how networks are set up, the different firewalls. I think somebody mentioned firewalls, the different types of firewalls, different types of network security controls that we have to put in place on our network, how networks work and how they operate. Because that is where our data is circulating and moving around and being stored, and everything that we do is on the network, whether on-prem or in the cloud, right? So there is no going around networking because you don't want to be technical. So the earlier you embrace it, and this is not being technical, you are not going to be doing coding, but learning the basics and fundamentals of networking. But having a good understanding of it is going to help you on the job anywhere you find yourself. Now, operating systems, we are using different operating systems. So Linux, Windows, iOS, name it. If you don't understand the basics of network of operating systems, I don't see how you are going to be able to function. Now, security concepts and technologies. So some of the security concepts, I think somebody was mentioning defense in depth. So defense in depth, eliminating single point of failure, redundancy. All these are concepts that falls under cybersecurity architecture and design, right? You have to understand these different concepts and principles as well. Now, and like I think last 2 weeks when we did the non-technical cybersecurity roles, I think I spoke about, even for non-technical stuff like security concepts, they are still kind of technical because somebody outside cybersecurity won't know, if you ask them to explain the concept of like defense in depth or principle of least privilege, right? It's a technical cybersecurity concept that they wouldn't know. So technical, I know, when we say technical, mostly we are referring to ethical hacking and coding side and stuff. But, some of these things, you can still label them non-technical, but you have to know them. Right now, common threats, attacks. So the example that we started with for cyber news, if you don't know your common threats and attacks and the different wordings and terminologies and vulnerabilities and threats and the different types, the example that we just gave, if you're on the job and they said, hey, we have a 0-day attack or we have a 0-day vulnerability. Now there you are, you don't even understand the concept of 0-day vulnerability. So what are you going to do to help them? Right. And if you find yourself in a company where you are the only cybersecurity professional and they are looking at your face like, hey, we just saw this on the news, so what are you going to do about it? Or what is the strategy for? Now you have to go and Google. But if they put you on the spot and they are, so what do you think? What is this 0-day thing? Like, what is it? They're asking you to explain. And what are you going to tell them? Oh, give me 2 days or after lunch, I'm going to come in. Yes, and you can even go read about it. But because you don't know, you are just coming back to recite what you read. And if they ask you more questions, now it's going to be obvious. You are just winging it, right? Security tools and practices. So for security tools, yes, you have to know a tool, at least one or two, right? Familiarize yourself with different tools and different categories of tools. So for like folks who go through the entry level course, I think module 5 is your security tools, where we walk you through to build your own cybersecurity lab and use different cybersecurity tools, right? And we put a lot of hurdles in front of you, so you are struggling with these tools, and we do that for a reason, because you are never going to forget those tools and the setups that you went through and everything, right? So tools, once you are done with entry level, first portion, when it comes to tools, I don't think you are going to struggle with any tool, and you wouldn't be afraid of any cybersecurity tool, right? Now, risk management and security policies. Also, as we are moving down the line, we started easy. These are easy and simple, right? Now, risk management, with everything that you know here, it'll help you to understand what risk management is about. And then also for security policies, if you understand these basics and fundamentals all the way up to this point, they are simply what we are going to put in security policies, right? So if we give you the network policy, or we give you identity and access management policy, you understand what is in there because you understand the basics and the fundamentals. Now, legal, regulatory, ethical knowledge, that goes more into your compliance, right? Your frameworks and others. Incident response, I think, was it Gabriel that mentioned incident response and cybersecurity lifecycle? He mentioned incident response. And then the last one is mindset and soft skills, right? I think somebody also mentioned soft skills for the basics and fundamentals, which is excellent. Now we are spending a little bit more time on the core cybersecurity functions because this is what sets the stage for everything else that we are going to look at in terms of the in-demand skills that you need for 2025 in cybersecurity, right? So we are going to go a little bit in depth, just do an overview of these major areas that we discussed, and then we are going to move on, right? So when it comes to, we are going to start from the bottom, mindset and soft skills, curiosity, willingness to learn. You might think this is nothing. How are they going to test your curiosity and willingness to learn on the job? Or even during interviews, how are they going to measure this or test this? Anybody has any clue? How do they test curiosity and willingness to learn on during interviews, not even on the job, during interviews? How do they test for this one? Any ideas? So let me give you an example, right? If you come to an interview and they ask you, so what do you think? Okay, I think I'll give Stella the floor. Stella, give it a shot.
Okay, when they ask about your hobbies, what do you do at your free time?
Okay, yeah, that is one way. Uh, but for curiosity and willingness to learn, right, and then also attention to detail, I'm going to put it all together. I think there are some. Okay, Emmanuel, I'll have you go, and then Gabriel, and then Ayodeyi will also go. So Emmanuel, please go.
Yes, when they ask you some soft skill questions during the interview, asking you where do you want to be at a certain time and why do you want this job and things like that.
Okay. Gabriel, what about you?
I'll just give a very recent example with an organization in California that I interviewed with. They currently have a cybersecurity team of 5, and they all have the coding experience using Python, Bash, and one other, I think SQL or PowerShell. I can't remember which one. So they told me for some of the functions that they do, that they want a cross-functional team, that anyone on the team can do any other person's task on the group, on the team. So they asked if I actually had the experience with any of the coding languages that I mentioned. So I told them, as a matter of fact, I can read some of those languages to an extent, but not proficient in using those. So they mentioned, okay, it's Python and Bash that they use majorly. That on a scale of 1 to 10, how would I rate my skill on that? So I told them, for now, at this time, it's about 3 to 10. But one thing I know is if it's very essential for the job, that I'm willing to go through the process to learn how to use it so I can help the team achieve the functions that will be assigned to me. And immediately, the CIO told me, you know what, we actually have a training program that would help you with that if we eventually go with you. So I think that's one of the good examples of testing willingness to learn on the job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Very good example. Ayodeji, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I also think they could just pose a question like we discussed initially, talking about the cyber news. They can ask you, how do you, have you heard of what's the current cyber news that you have heard about and things like that? Maybe looking at how you kind of develop yourself in that way. And also maybe in terms of talking about how are you willing to help your teammates? That can also be a form of asking about how willing you are to help. To learn.
Okay. Augustine, please go ahead.
Yes, I actually have two answers. One, if you have it on your resume that you are working on a particular certification and that it will be due probably in a couple of weeks or months, that tells them that you are willing to learn, and they may ask you, how far have you gone with that? You can explain. Secondly, they can ask you, which websites are you familiar with in terms of cybersecurity? You should be able to mention one or two websites, and they will know that you are somebody who is willing to learn. Thank you.
Yes, true. Thank you. So, yes, I think all the examples that were given and the answers, directly in line. And for Gabriel's real world example, so for curiosity, willingness to learn, the example Gabriel gave was really good together with everybody else. But if you go to an interview and you don't ask any question, right? You don't want to know about their team, what they do, and stuff like that. That don't show any, type of curiosity. And two, you go to an interview and they ask you, so, like, what do you think this role is about? Or what do you think our company, like, what do you think we do? That also goes into paying attention to detail. And you go in with, I think your company is doing this, or I think. You don't have to think, you have to know for a fact. Right. So you have to research more about the company, their team, what they do, the organizational culture. That shows your curiosity and your willingness to learn. Right. Because if you come to an interview, you can be the most technical person, you can be the most knowledgeable person. But if simple, easy questions like, what do you think we do? Or, well, like, what do you know about our company? Yeah, like, I think your company sells shoes or ice cream or chairs. Really? I do you really want to work for this company? That shows, one, you didn't pay attention to detail, because all that information, even if you don't like to research, is on the job description. Right? You are not even curious enough to dig into, what do these people even do for this role? What exactly am I going to be doing? Right? So you should be a problem solver, work under pressure, communication and collaboration, very key. Emmanuel, please go ahead. I know your hand is still up. Yes.
I was going to ask, maybe add to what we've already contributed in a situation where they ask you, how do you adapt to cybersecurity changes in cybersecurity environment? Would that not align with the fact that you are following the trend and reading and following the changes in your professional environment? That shows that you are continuously learning and improving on your skills.
Yeah, so there is really not one way of showing your curiosity and your willingness to learn. There are so many ways that you can show that. But what we mentioned are some of it. So, like what you're saying, how you answer your question can also help to demonstrate this more, right? And that is the beauty about the soft skills part of this, like what we do. So there is really no right or wrong answer, but there is, the set of right answers, kind of. And there are a set of answers that are way off, right? So you just have to, one, read the room, and then also know more about the company, right? What they're about and their organizational, values and stuff like that. But just attention to detail and curiosity, and though you don't even have to, it doesn't have to be based on the organizational needs in terms of their culture and what they are looking for. Because if you come to an interview and you don't know what is on the job description, that clearly shows you don't pay attention to detail, right? and two, you are not curious and you are not even willing. Just for that job description, you are not even willing to learn. So what else will you be willing to learn, right? Right. So now other core cybersecurity functions, fundamentals or foundations, incident response, cybersecurity life cycle. So knowing your incident response steps, preparation, detection, response, recovery, continuous monitoring, documentation, and evidence handling. Now, all these, everything that we are talking about, for the soft skills portion, you are bringing most of the soft skills side to the table already before you even get onto cybersecurity. Whatever you are doing now, you are using a lot of soft skills. So everybody is coming onto the cybersecurity playing field with a lot of soft skills already, right? We just have to get the right guidance and see how to channel it and how to answer your soft skills questions when you do go to these interviews. Now, for incident response, everything else that we are going to speak about, because these you are practicing on daily basis. Everything else, these ones you can, one, you have to have the knowledge for it. Two, you have to practice using it, right? So for incident response, the practice, you can't wait for an incident to happen to use that to practice, because you never know when an incident is going to happen. But there are tabletop exercises and other things that you can use, simulated exercises that you can use to practice incident response and other concepts like that, right? Now, legal, regulatory, ethical knowledge. So data privacy laws, you should know a bunch of them, and the ones that matter, most especially the common ones like GDPR, CCPA, HIPAA. Now, most states have data privacy laws, right? So HIPAA doubles as data privacy and then also compliance framework, right? Now, compliance frameworks like NIST, and NIST is not a compliance framework itself, like NIST Cybersecurity Framework or NIST Special Publications, the different types of special publications, ISO 20701, SOC 2, PCI DSS, and others. You should also be familiar with these frameworks. Now, all these frameworks are built on, guess what? Everything that we just looked at here, right? Your CIA triad, your network fundamentals, your operating system, security concepts. So, like I said, there is no running away. There are some training and courses out there where, with no cybersecurity background, they just jump you into teaching you what different NIST frameworks, ISO 20701, SOC 2, PCI DSS, and really, from what you know now, from what foundation are they teaching you these things? Because inside ISO 20701, inside PCI DSS is everything that we just saw here. And you don't understand any of these. And they just jump you straight into, right? It's like you just missed part one of the movie and they just put you in, the second, like the second part of the movie, right? So part two of the movie. Now you missed everything. So you don't even understand how the story is moving. You are just following what they are showing you now, right? Now, ethics in cybersecurity and responsible disclosure, this falls. So when it comes to ethics, they are not necessarily, they wouldn't necessarily get you in trouble, but it's frowned upon, right? So there are certain things that we don't do in the security space. And mostly, they are also kind of predicted by some of the best practices that we find in these frameworks, right? And some of the ethical things are also kind of guided by what we do in terms of the governance side. So some of the concepts like not putting, changing rules on regular basis, and then not also having the same people take on too much responsibilities that can, get into conflict of interest. And I'll give you a very good example, like in the PCI space, right? Or even outside PCI, any auditing firm or anyone who is auditing or who is assessing, an assessor assessing with any framework, you cannot be assessing and at the same time you cannot be working with that same company in terms of helping them with staying in compliance with whatever framework, right? So you cannot show them what to do and assess them at the same time. hopefully that makes sense. That is conflict of is unethical, something. Not necessarily yes, it's an ethical thing that assessors and different like PCI they really frown upon that, and other schools of thought within the security space. But it's an ethical issue. It's not something that can really get you in some super trouble, but it's frowned upon, right? So now we move into risk management and security policies. So risk assessment processes, acceptable use for policies, acceptable use policy, awareness training, security awareness, business continuity, disaster recovery, incident response, they all go hand in hand, right? So you can also do risk management and also look at the policies without the foundation or the fundamentals that we looked at previously, right? And everything that we are looking at now is the core. So let's not get confused. We are going to go back to the main list, which included the core security foundations. Now, when it comes to the tools, security tools and practices, there's a lot of cybersecurity tools. At least get familiarize yourself with one or two these tools, right? So there's a lot of them. Network scanners like Nmap, vulnerability scanners. There's a whole lot of them. And then also learn some, although you are not going into the right side of security, but knowing the basics for Bash and Python and others wouldn't hurt. For us, for the entry level students, when you are doing your the tools portion of your training, we teach you a little bit of Bash, right? So there's a little bit of Bash moving around, in the command line, typing your Bash commands, which exposing you and giving you that confidence, right? So that is why for anybody who's gone through entry level all the way through internship, once you're done, you're ready for anything, right? Now, common threats and vulnerabilities. So the different types of malware, different types of phishing attacks, social engineering, insider threats, and different types of attacks. Understanding these types of attacks will go a long way, right? So you are not going to be paced when on the job. Somebody just genuinely don't know. They saw something on the news and they want to ask you, "Hey, I heard about this ransomware thing. What is ransomware?" And then now you are all paced because they want to put you on the spot. But if you knew this, you would talk their head off, explaining what ransomware is. But if you don't really know for sure and you are just winging it on there, now it becomes a problem. You're trying to hide from everybody because they're going to ask you some questions. So these are basics and fundamentals, right? And security concepts and technology. So different concepts than technology. So this falls really, I think we listed more of the technology than the concepts. So principle of least privilege, defense in depth, those are some of the security concepts. For the technologies, we are using different firewalls, IDS, IPS, VPNs, endpoint security, and the rest. So you should know, your way around this and understand the basic concepts behind how these systems and technologies work. Operating systems, your operating system fundamentals, Windows, Linux, and I can only go back to entry level. Folks in entry level, wearing your hands on, where you are working with tools, we expose you to more Windows and more Linux. So if you are totally new to the IT space, you've never used Linux, you're going to use Linux, and then also learn how to move around using Bash, programming language Bash. So file systems, permissions, Windows groups, and others, Linux commands. Yes, at least some basic Linux commands you should be able to know, right? Now, we are going to move on to networking fundamentals. So what we mean by networking fundamentals, understanding how data moves is key to protecting the data. How are you going to protect data that you don't know how the data is moving and how it is operating on your network? So TCP, IP, DNS, and other stuff like that, ports and protocols, firewalls, proxies, and others. These are basics when it comes to networking that you should know. And then our CIA triad, knowing the fundamental principles of cybersecurity. So we explained this earlier on, so we are going to move on. Now, we are going to jump into the other fun stuff. And before we do, we partnered with Climb. They are our new partners when it comes to financing for any of our courses. It's very affordable options for any of our courses. And our catalog of courses, we have the AI governance specialist course, where we are going to teach you how to protect and how to mitigate risks when it comes to AI tools that organizations are using. This is very hands-on. We take you through AI basics and fundamentals all the way up to internship, where you are going to work on different AI governance projects. And then our cloud security, we teach you how to move in the cloud, the different principles, techniques, and concepts in the cloud. And we go over, it's vendor neutral. So we use AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and beyond. And this also comes with internship as well. And then for folks starting from scratch, we encourage you to look into our cybersecurity entry-level course. And this is the course that I've been discussing as we move along. We are very keen when it comes to the core fundamentals in the security space, because that is your foundation in cybersecurity, right? Unless, of course, you don't want to make this a career. You just want to make this something that you can do for 4 months and you get fired and you go back to whatever you were doing before that, right? Either than that, then you need a program that is really going to set the foundation and then give you some hands-on training for you to be job ready, right? And then for folks looking to, if you're already in the cybersecurity space or already you've been in IT for a while, you want to jump into a specialty in the cybersecurity space, then you can look into our PCI DSS program as well. Now for our GRC internship and workshop, our new cohort is starting tomorrow. And this is where, if you've gone through some GRC program elsewhere, everything you've done up to this point is just theory, right? And you need some hands-on. And, when we talk about hands-on, mostly people think working with tools like Nexus, Splunk, those are, you've done some hands-on. Well, yes, it's a hands-on to a certain point. That is hands-on working with tools. Now, hands-on really doing the work. And the example that I use to make it very easy for everybody to understand is if you want to go for a chef job, right, where you are going to cook. If your hands-on is learning how to turn on the stove and use the blender and that is all that you did for hands-on, you never cooked anything. Good luck, cooking anywhere in any restaurant as a chef. And that is the same thing here. So you can learn how to use Nexus, Splunk. Yes, they are all good, but how do you conduct risk assessments? How do you conduct policy review? No tool is going to do your policy review for you. How do you manually do your policy review? Because there's no tool to do policy review. The tool can remind you that policy review is due on this date, but the tool is not going to do the policy review for you. AI cannot help you do a policy review. Well, you can give it to AI. AI can spit out some stuff, but AI also hallucinates. So AI has its own problems, right? So if you understand what you are doing and you know it, AI makes it easy. You can critique what AI is going to give you and polish it up and present it, and you're going to look good, right? So the reason why I'm emphasizing this is where we do everything bare bone. We roll out our sleeves and we actually tackle cybersecurity projects, and we do them as it's supposed to be. That way, when you get onto interviews and they ask you, how do you conduct risk assessment? You're not going to say, oh, yeah, I use Banter. Okay, and how do you do it? Yeah, you just put everything is in Banter already, so you just click and it's done. It doesn't work that way. You have to be able to walk me through how you conduct risk assessments, not just mention a tool. Right. So yes, no, you have to know a tool or two, but you have to know how to actually do the work. And this is what we do for the GRC internship and workshop. So with that, we are going to jump into the technical hands-on. And it's good we started with the GRC internship, moving into this. Now, for the technical hands-on, it's a combination. You have to know some tools, but technical hands-on goes beyond just using networking, security tools, using SIM tools, right? So, but this we are going to purely look at when we talk about technical hands-on. We are focusing on skills that are used to directly secure our systems, network, and data, right? So, with that, to directly secure our network systems and data, one, you have to come from a point of knowledge, know what you are doing. Now, there's a lot of network security tools that are out there. including firewalls, including IDS, IPS, SIM tools, incident response tools, and others, right? So you should know some of these tools if you want to, these are part of the in-demand skills in the cybersecurity space for 2025, right? And this goes beyond 2025. Now, for folks who want to jump into the ethical hacking side, offensive side, these are extra, technical hands-on, conducting natural pen testing using the web suite, different tools, Nmap and others, web application security, doing manual testing, automation, social engineering, phishing simulations, and exploit development and reverse engineering. All these are some of the skills that you are going to need on the offensive side. So a combination of the how to and then also using the skills, right? And then we move into soft skills and business alignment. And now hopefully nobody is lost. So we started with the very first list, right? Like the very first item when it comes to all the skills, the in-demand skills, there's about 9 of them, right? So the very first one was the core foundations. And we looked at that extensively. That is why, if you don't follow closely, you might think we are still in that space. But we jumped out of that and we've looked at 2 new skill sets so far. So technical, hands-on, technical know-how, and the hands-on. And then now we are in soft skills and business alignment. Now for soft skills and business alignment, all of it couldn't fit on the page. So we just had to, take some off. So communication, stakeholder management, project management. So for folks on here, if you already have project management background, you are way ahead of the race. Strategic thinking, business risk alignment. If you're already in the business space, corporate space, you've been working either financial or wherever you've been working, you have some risk management experience under your belt, attention to detail, critical thinking, team player skills, leadership skills, collaborative skills, customer relations, documentation and audit readiness, presentation skills, being able to break down technical issues or technical knowledge to non-technical executives or to non-technical audience is also one of the key soft skills that we need here, right? So there's always something that you are bringing to the table that fits the soft skills bill. So don't say you don't have any working experience in cybersecurity. You have some before you even came in, right? Now we are looking at privacy and data protection and legal compliance. So for privacy, data protection and legal compliance, managing personal data, consent, and then also global privacy laws. So like data loss prevention, how do we prevent data loss within our organization? There are different tools, data loss prevention tools. Now, but everything starts with you understanding what data loss prevention means itself, right? What is exfiltration and the different techniques and tactics that attackers use to do that. Then we can look into the tool, some of the tools that are being used to do that, like Proofpoint, others, right? Now, privacy impact assessment, data mapping and classification, and the knowledge of some frameworks like GDPR, PCI DSS, HIPAA, ISO 2701, and others, right? So everything that we are going through might seem like a lot, but it is really not, right? Because they all lead into each other, right? None of them is a standalone or is an island on its own. So threat intelligence and cyber defense strategy. Also, what we have under threat intelligence and cyber defense. So threat intelligence platforms, tips. There's a lot of threat intelligence platforms out there. MITRE and attack framework. So this is a framework that helps us to guesstimate, or learn about the tactics and techniques that attackers use to attack us. Adversarial emulation. This is also kind of, we can do like simulations to see how the enemy is going to move or attackers are going to move. And cyber threat modeling. With threat modeling, mostly, we cannot really control threats, but we can guesstimate. So we can guess intelligently based on research and based on, some of the threat intelligence that we've gathered for time, right? Now, we are going to look at AI automation, and emerging technologies. So I think somebody was asking about if you go to an interview and they're asking you, I think when we're discussing the soft skills, they're asking you what are some of the trending news or like the trending technologies in the cybersecurity space. Now, how do you really keep up with that? With trending news, trending things going on in the cybersecurity space? Any takers or any tips and tricks on that? How do you keep up with trending news? I'll like your take, and then I will give you some insights where you don't have to go look for it. It is going to come to you. Emmanuel, please go ahead.
Yeah, to keep updated with the trending news and cybersecurity news, you have to be in a space like this where we are, just like you started in this session today. You started with the cybersecurity news, collaborating with professionals and doing your research and subscribing to organizational news too. That will bring you abreast to what is really happening in the domain.
Okay, so I like everything you said, especially the last one. So subscribing to different organizations, and so there are different, like there are a lot of players within the cybersecurity space. NIST is big one. ISO, ISACA, ISC Square, right? So if not for anything, all the certification bodies, they have a subscription where you just subscribe to their newsletters. So they keep you, now you don't have to go look, they will send it back to you. Now there are some sites like Cyber News, there's a whole list of them that you can subscribe to, right? They also send you updates. And then sites like if you're in the PCI space, subscribe to PCI's newsletter. They also keep you updated, right? So there's a lot of just subscribing to them and just sitting there and waiting. In your inbox, they are going to be flooding your inbox with a lot of these technological advancement and some of the developments going on. And two, you join groups like the Eretmis group, you join programs like Cyber Chat on a regular basis, because there's always going to be something that you didn't hear or that you didn't see, and somebody else is going to bring it up for you to know, right? So if you're a part of groups like this, there is no way you are going to go to an interview next week and they ask you what are some of the things happening in the cybersecurity space, and you wouldn't have anything to say. If not for anything, cyber news will give you some insight, right? There was a lot of cyber news this week, but we picked this because this is one of the very big ones, right? And there's a lot of educational value from it also as well, right? Now, hospitals getting breached, different companies getting hacked, all that is bad, but it's the normal business as usual, right? But if there's a 0 day that up to now we still don't have a patch, that is a serious issue, right? So, and there's a lot of learning that we can get from that. Now we are moving into AI. Thank you, Emmanuel. We are moving to AI and automation and emerging threats. And how do we keep up with that? So for AI, you can join our AI governance class, and you are going to learn a lot about AI and machine learning, security, and governance. Also security, automation, SOAR tools. So now SOAR tools you were there. Now AI has taken it to a different level. Quantum resistance cryptography, and that is the trend where cryptography is going to now, right? So quantum computing is gradually creeping up on us, and is going to creep up on the cryptography space, and it's going to cause a very big disruption on the cryptography space because quantum computing will help us, or will make it easier for us to crack most of these encryption algorithms that are out there, right? And then zero trust architecture and other concepts that are out there as well. So to stay ahead of emerging technologies, I mean, these are some of the things that you can look at for now. And every day there are new things coming up, but at least this set will be good for to the end of the year, if nothing really huge comes up. Now, identity and access management, we looked at it. It was part of the core, but still as a standalone, it was one of the main skills that you need in the security space for 2025, right? The in-demand skills. So this focuses on access management, access to systems and data. Now, I think someone asked me last week, no, or this week, that they wanted to pursue either GRC or identity and access management, and what was my take on it? Like, well, they are not separate entities. Identity and access management, wherever you go in security, you are going to encounter it. Now, some people are doing it as a full-blown role, identity and access management role, but it is in everything that we do, right? Your first point of defense is identity and access management. If you want to, if you go to your organization, they give you access to their systems. How do they give you access? You get a username and password. You'll be able to log in to have access. So the first point of defense, the first point of call is always identity and access. It falls under identity and access management, right? So it focuses on managing access to systems and data. Now you have to familiarize yourself with multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, your access controls. So your role-based or rule-based access control and the different types of access controls, federation, privilege access, principle of least privilege, and the different concepts that we use in the identity and access management space, right? And then we move into cloud security. So I think it was Gabriel that mentioned cloud security is also part of cloud security skills is also needed. And also to really equip yourself in this space, you can look into our cloud specialist class, right? Cloud security class. That is a phenomenal program that is going to make you top-notch cloud security professional. So for this, you need cloud security architecture. And I think somebody mentioned architecture, anything architecture, when we were asking about what you think are some of the skills needed in here. So cloud security architecture, cloud compliance and governance, identity and access management in the cloud. See how it is coming back again. Cloud native security tools like Security Hub and others. These are some of the areas that you can also, polish up on to gain the cloud security skills, right? And then we'll look at almighty GRC. So governance, risks, and compliance. Now, governance, risks, and compliance on its own touches on everything in the security space. It touches on everything. So when somebody says, I want the non-technical part and I just want, yes, I get the piece. You don't want to do coding, but GRC touches on everything, right? So you have to understand, one, have a very good foundation, understand all the core foundations that we looked at, and then everything that we looked at up to this point, they are all covered under GRC as well. So risk assessment, risk management, policy and procedure development, security awareness training, audit and compliance reporting, third-party risk assessment itself, risk assessment mentioned already, third-party and vendor risk management, regulatory compliance frameworks like NIST, ISO, and the rest, right? So when somebody tells you they are teaching you GRC and they start you off by just taking you through frameworks, and that is it, and then move you on and prep you for interviews, you have a very big gap in your knowledge base and what you can do, right? I think up to this point, if you went through this session, you should know that the GRC training should start you off from the core foundations that we just looked at and build you all the way up to where, at least, if they want to introduce you to different frameworks and just talk about them, that is fine. If you take any of these frameworks and you go through, at least it doesn't look like, or it's not going to look like Greek to you or Chinese if you don't understand Chinese or Greek, right? At least you're able to read it and understand what it is trying to say. Now, for some of the frameworks, yes, you need somebody to guide you to navigate that framework. But for the most part, if you understand security and have that foundation, you should be able to read and adjust, even without guidance, be able to do something with it, right? So with that, we will be wrapping up. And then I think we will give Matthew the chance to say a word or two, and then we will congratulate Matthew on his first role. And maybe probably next week, if there is time, we might bring Matthew. And I think I'm also shooting for Tutu Matthew and Tutu, they can have the floor and give us more insight into what they are now. Matthew, for what he's going to be doing on the job and the whole interview process and how it went. Right. So just running through this real quick. So for folks, AI governance, if you're looking to, and you saw this is one of the core skills that are needed in the security in-demand skills. Also for cloud security, one of the in-demand skills already. For folks looking to begin their career in the cybersecurity space, the cybersecurity entry-level course. And then for folks looking to specialize in cybersecurity, you can look into the PCI DSS or payment security compliance. Now, reason why Eretmis specialized in PCI and we do PCI audits is because when we wanted to specialize as a company, PCI is the only field that cuts across boundaries, all boundaries, countries, it cuts across government agencies and the corporate side, right? So you are not limited to what you can do and, where you can work, right? So, and then also for our GRC internship and workshop beginning tomorrow, if you've not enrolled or joined yet, theory can only take you so far, right? You actually have to do. So that is all that I can say about this. And for folks who've gone through this, yes, it's rigorous. We are going to push you, but you're going to come on the other side, very robust cybersecurity professional, right? And for our WhatsApp group, the link is going to be posted. You can join our WhatsApp group, and then also YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe and share with friends and family who are interested in becoming security professionals or pursuing a career in this side, right? And with that, we are going to open the floor. And if there are any questions, I think there are some in here in the chat, and then we'll give some shout outs. But for the time being, if Matthew is still on here, congratulations once again. And Matthew, you can give us some insights, just a quick, overview of how your interview process went, and then we'll be about wrapping it up.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ado, and everyone tonight. It's a great privilege to be here. Now, I joined this academic by that was February this year. So I reached out to Dr. Ado and I explained everything to him, and he told me not to worry, just focus and be determined, and try to learn and then unlearn and relearn. So I started, attending the entering classes, cybersecurity entry level. Then I did that for a couple of close like 6 weeks, and then I joined the GRC internship and workshop class. So then after that, I was very involved in all the internship projects that we did in my team. George can also bear me witness to that. So when I was doing my internship, I was applying at the same time. There was a time I reached out to Dr. Adu concerning one of my application that they asked me to come for an interview, and he looked at it and he said, "No, you are better than this." And truly, I didn't know how. I thought that I was privileged to, to be invited to an interview. When Dr. Adu looked at it, he said, "No, said you are better than this." So I don't think this is a very good job. Just keep on learning what you are learning. And that was true, but though it was hard for me to believe that at first. So I continued my program when I was applying, and I was doing my internship at the same time. So I was called for an interview in one of my applications. And so she reached out to me. She did the first interview on phone, just calling me just to get to know me, get to know my visa status, my location, and also I should introduce myself to her. So I did that. And he said, okay, he's going to set me up for a 30 minutes video screening. So he invited an India, very technical person to that video screening. And the person didn't even allow me to introduce myself. He just told me, hey, Matthew, you're welcome. This is video screening. So we're going to ask you technical questions straight ahead. You don't need to introduce yourself because we have so many candidates we are attending to. So we just went ahead and started asking me to what is a firewall? What is the difference between IDS and IPS? And also, what is the difference between next generation firewall and traditional firewall, the legacy firewall? So luckily for me, during my cybersecurity entering level with Dr. Adu, he has gone through that over and over with us, and so I make sure that before the interview I went through all that, just skip through and just remind myself of all what Dr. Adu has taught us. So I answered those questions, and he said, now we want to go deeper. So can you walk me through how you can manually perform risk assessment? So can you take me step by step on how to do that? So luckily for me, I was part of the team that actually work on one of the projects, which is the risk assessment. So I did walk him through using risk register. So he said, "Oh my God, what is going on? This guy is so good." So he said, I don't have, okay, can you tell me a time where you were in the middle of a conflict between two engineers, two colleagues, and how were you able to handle it? So luckily, during that cybersecurity entry level, there was a place where Dr. Adu actually talked about how to handle conflicts professionally. So I was able to creatively, generate a scenario, and then I walk him through that scenario, then how I was able to handle the conflict between two colleagues, and he was impressed. And so he asked me to ask him any question. So I asked him a question that what are the challenges you are facing in your team presently and what you have faced in the past? And because he's not actually the client, the complaint is just working with the recruiter. He just told me that I'm so sorry, I won't be able to answer that question because I'm working with the recruiter. I don't know really what is going on and the position. So I'm just here to screen you. So I said, no problem. So said they will meet again, and they will let me know their decision. So after that, every interview, there are four stages. Yeah, it's no more than 30 minutes. All the interviews are just 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes interview. It's not 1 hour no more, but some people, they do 1 hour for some people. But so they moved me to the client. So I moved straight to the client. Then I met with the person I'll be working under. So the lady introduced herself. My name is so you'll be working with me if this interview goes well. So the other person happens to be the boss of my boss. So that one also introduced himself and said, okay, I'm the boss of your boss. So I'm here to make sure that he has the best team on our team. So they began to ask me a couple of questions, began to ask me role-based questions about security group policy, about how to review and how to update security policies, third-party risk management. So the major role that they wanted me, what they wanted me to do, to come in to do, is to actually work on firewall administration and management with a strong understanding of security policy, security principles, security protocols, and standard. So they began to tell me that, okay, they are using TLS 1.0. What is my take on that? Now, I remember when Doctor gave us an assignment about one of us that did interview in person, and they gave that student just a scenario, and they asked the student to go and work on it and see which error. So we talked in that particular assignment. We dealt with TLS 1.0. Why we shouldn't use TLS 1.0 because it's unsecured. So I just remember, boom, it just hit on me. I said, okay, yes, I won't recommend that. So I will recommend TLS 1.2, 1.3. He was so impressed. Then he talked about the also another protocol, which is FTP. say, okay, we are using FTP. What is your recommendation? So I said, why don't you use the secured FTP? He was so impressed also. Then I told him about the TLS. I told him to use, if you can use SSH, and that will also help. And he just said, no, I need you in my team. Do you know what you're going to do? We have so many tools that we want you to start working on. So if you don't know the tools, we're going to teach you. And so, but because presently we are using manual, we are handling our data manually. So you'll be coming in to master those tools, and you'll be using those tools so that we can actually cover more ground, because we have so many work to do. And that was it. And at the end of the 30 minutes, they asked me questions. So I asked them technical questions. I asked them what are the challenges they are passing through, and how are they handling it. And they were shocked. And so I also asked them, how do you rate Sussex in the next 6 months? And so they said, for me, I'm coming in to master tools. So, and also working with the networking guy, because it's the job title actually is cybersecurity network governance engineer. So I have networking experience through the entry level program. Then I'm also working as a GROC at the same time. So I have to understand the networking aspects of the job, so that I will be able to make sure that they are in compliance and they are working according to this expected standard. And so that was it. After a couple of hours, they reached out to me and said, congratulations, you've gotten a job. And so so that's how I got the job.
Congratulations. And I've not spoken to Matt since he got, I spoke to him, but not in depth as he went through. And I think hopefully next week, if Matt has time, we will bring Matt and Tutu, right, for them to share more insights and give us some, some awesome insights. And also, I'll have Matt prep his questions and bring it for all of us to discuss, and he can give us more insight into it. And I'm really surprised at how, everything that Matt went through is what really they were asking him during interviews, and he could easily bring them up. He was speaking to, so during the internship, right, mostly they work on projects, but then there was like a mini project that was given to one student a while ago. So mostly when it comes to risk assessment, whilst they are doing the risk assessment, I'll throw that in there for them to tackle. And that is just simple network diagram with some questions for you to conduct a risk assessment, do like a write-up. And, that is to push you and test your fundamentals. And that really helped, I think, in Matt's case, because that is something that everything that you're doing, you're putting in your toolbox. You don't know when you have to, pull it out and bring it out. And I'm really glad everything, that you've gone through up to this point, Matt. And also, you also listened and you paid attention. I think the job that Matt was going for, the first one, the one that was in person, probably was like what, 70K or
No,
about
it was like 50 to 51.
50,
You were so
60K.
embarrassed.
Oh, Matt, you cannot do that. I mean, you have to know your value, right?
Yeah.
And eventually, what Matt is doing now is like 3 times what he wanted to go for.
Yes.
So you can do the math, right? We didn't say any numbers. You can do the math. But on that happy note, we are about to wrap up. Congratulations, Matt, once again. And Matt's group is here. They just did their graduation, I think, like 3 weeks ago. So everybody in Matt's group, if you're not applying, we'll probably be chasing you around with sticks and stones. So you have to start applying, right? And Emmanuel, please go ahead. So whilst Emmanuel is, coming up with his question, just running through the chat real quick. So there were some, okay, not started yet. Okay, some questions in there. So some shout out. Emmanuel, you can please go ahead and ask your question.
All right, thank you, Dr. Edu. First of all, I want to congratulate Matt for the milestone of achievement he has been able to gain through this shortest possible period of time. And my question is actually multiple, but I would want to start with the marks area. Do you advise that Or at this point, because I'm one of the internship right now,
Yes.
at this point, if I heard Mark correctly, he said he started applying while he was on the internship. Same journey I am in already. Do you welcome one-on-one conversation if I have an interview schedule at this level of my entry level with the internship?
With Dr. Adu?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes, my
I'm
first.
actually asking Dr. Adu the question.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't.
okay. Of course.
Okay. So, I mean, mostly it's advisable for us to do like 3 or 4 projects before you start applying. Because if you apply day one and they call you for an interview, what are you going to talk about? Okay, tell us some projects you worked on.
Yeah,
I've not
but
worked on it.
for me in person, I am not just a beginner. Like you already know, we have several conversations before today.
Yeah, so still, I will at least wait and do 1 or 2 projects. And there's a science to why I'm saying that, right? Because it's not applying to the job. That is not a problem. You can apply. They will call you for an interview. But really, what you're going to say at the interviews is what really matters, right? You can go to 100 interviews and you are just saying what you want to say. But if you've actually worked on projects, it's easy, just like what Matt was saying. And mostly this goes to what I am always talking about and preaching. If somebody wants to know if you can conduct risk assessment, they don't want to know if you can, what tool did you use? How do you manually conduct risk assessment? That is what they are asking you. How do you conduct third-party risk assessment? Right. So when people get hung up on tools, right? Like, oh, I'll use this tool. I have to learn how to use this tool. In Matt's case, he's going to be a guru of all the tools that they are using in the next 2 months or thereabout. They are going to teach him the tools, but they're not going to teach Matt how to conduct risk assessment. Right. So for Emmanuel, coming back to you, I mean, for you, we can talk offline and see, but at least do 2 projects, right? So within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, thereabout, you can start prepping and applying. Because for what goes on your resume are the projects that you're going to work on during the internship. Unless, of course, you have your own projects that you want to put on your resume, right? So the company goes on your resume, the projects you work on go on your resume as well. And we don't want you to present a resume that you cannot defend. Yes. Right. So everything on your resume, because sometimes I've sat on interviews where sometimes I just try to be maybe funny or silly or just get back at people in their own style. Because if you bring a resume and I'm going through your resume and asking you, how do you do this? How do you do this? And it's based on what you said you did, and you are all running around in circles. You are the one shooting yourselves in the foot with a machine gun, not me, right?
Yes.
So if I ask you stuff about your resume, that should be an easy one for like a home run, right? To hit a home run. So Emmanuel, yes, we can, discuss that once you are in. You can start applying.
Yes,
once we are
my focus is, should I have an interview because I'm now your student? Do I have the window of you putting me on the spot prior to the interview just to assess my competence? And you should be able to assess and say, okay, Manuel, go for it or don't go. Do I have that window?
One quick takeaway, interview preps, you can do interview preps all you want, but if you are doing it in a vacuum, and what I mean by that is, if you are doing an interview prep with no job description, you are just
no.
You see what I mean? So if for me to gauge you, there has to be a job description. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So with a job description, I'll be able to see that, okay, for this job, I think you are like 80%, 90%, or 50% there, right? But without that, for me to ask you random questions to gauge you, it has to be structured to a specific thing, right?
No,
am I asking you the questions towards third party?
You don't seem to understand what I'm saying. Let me create a scenario so that you get the picture of what I'm bringing up. I'm now your student who is starting your internship tomorrow. Okay. Then, because I am not just a beginner, I already have an interview schedule based on the interviews I already applied for prior to me entering your classes.
So now, if you need help with that, like we can help you with that. Like that is an easy one.
That's just what I'm asking. That's what
that's if you have a prior interview coming into it, like that's fine.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. Saliful, please go ahead. And we will be about to wrap up.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all for the time. I'm new here. This is my first time attending this webinar, and I was looking into joining this cybersecurity stuff, but honestly speaking, I have been moving around. Like I don't know where to start. On you mentioned a lot of things here in the forum, like you demonstrate on a lot of stuff. So my question to you is like someone like me that is coming with zero knowledge in the cybersecurity environment. Where do I start?
I think Matt has the answer to it.
Yeah, so I also came in with zero knowledge. I reached what I saw Dr. Adu's advertisement on Facebook. So I was like, oh my God, okay. So I reached out to him and I explained to him I have zero knowledge. So he advised me to come in through the cybersecurity entry level. So entry level cybersecurity entry level consists of the entry level courses and also the internship. So so I did the two together and I started February this year and I ran it up this month, first week of this month. I'm telling you, you understand your basic networking, your basic cybersecurity, basic of fundamentals. You will have a grip of it, and you'll be able to flow along very well. Even they asked me a couple of tools. Have I used tools Splunk and other tools like Wireshark? During the cybersecurity entry level, we downloaded that. We downloaded that on our laptop. We played with it. Dr. Ado in that class told in those in the module 5 told us to also work on some assignment. He gave us some assignment, practical assignments on those tools. So during the cybersecurity entry level courses, you're going to have some hands-on examples, practical examples through that particular course also. So I will advise you through the permission of Dr. Adu to put in to come in through the cybersecurity entry level.
Yes. So, Saliful, the entry level, cybersecurity entry level, everything that we spoke about here today, if you go through the entry level all the way to the end is finishing the internship, everything is going to be covered.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So
So,
how
but
how
start
long?
with,
So
yes, go ahead, please.
how long is the class, and is it okay to ask about the cost here or the we have
Yeah,
to?
it's 4 months. I mean, but for the it's 2 months of the training, 2 months of internship, but mostly internship will move into 2 weeks over, or sometimes even a month over,
Yeah,
right? Because our goal is we are shooting for quality, not just time. Right.
absolutely.
So if the projects are not done, they are not done. We have to complete them, and mostly the time that is spilling over is on Dr. Edu, right? Like that is Dr. Edu's time that is given to you in addition to what the course has to cover, right? So and the cost for the entry level is 5,500. There are different payment options available on the website. If you check your chat, your private message, all that information has been sent to you, Salifu. So let's start with our free course. Cybersecurity for beginners, very informative. Start with that. Once you're done, you can jump into the entry level, right? And mostly the free course is to give you some situational awareness for you to see what you're getting yourself into, right? Maybe from the outside you think, okay, is this something I want to do? But if you go through the free course, maybe if you don't think that is, what you really want to do, then at least you are armed with more information. And even if you think maybe the price point for this is too much, with the information you get from the free course, it'll help you to assess and gauge any other training that you are looking into, right? So
So
hopefully that helps.
so when are you guys gonna start the free course?
No, the free course is 2.5 hours of video lessons. You can start it at any time. You just have to click on the link and you are going to register and start right now, right? So check your chat in Zoom. You have the link to the free course, and the link has also been posted in the general group, so everybody else also can see that as well, right?
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, all right. So appreciate everybody's time. Going back to the chat, there are some shout outs in here. And congratulations once again, Matt. And now,
Dr. D,
Matt. Yes, go ahead, Frank.
yeah, I think the free course is also on the website. If you can point that out, you forgot to mention that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so if you click on the link, it will take you to the website. And if you go to Eretmis Academy's website, the free course is in the catalog of courses as well. Right. Oh, okay, Nicole. I'm tracking your message in here, Nicole. And Henrietta put him live. Archer put him live. Larry was congratulating Matt, and some more congratulations to Matt. Some team lives in here, and to take network plus. Okay, so Abraham is asking if is that our advice for somebody to take security plus when the person has already network plus. Since the knowledge of networking and is fundamental. Oh, so yes, Abraham, if you've gone through the entry level, you don't necessarily need to take security plus, but if you want to take it as a plus, right? So like that is a plus, you are going to learn more. And there is nothing like too much knowledge, right? So yes, if you want to take that, that is something that you can do. Now, some congratulations, a lot of congratulations to Matt in here. Congratulations again. Congratulations from George, your teammate in Diaspora Care. And he says Diaspora Care and Eretmis, we are proud of you. Some congratulations in there. And then some team lives. Okay, Nicole also had cyber news in there. So, Sans, yeah. So when it comes to staying up to date with cybersecurity stuff, I think Elle also put in there Sans. You can also subscribe to Sans. Yes, that is a really good one. Expressing desire to have continuous education. Okay, person willing to. Okay, so that was to answer some of the questions in there. Yes. So incident response. Okay, so these are all responses to the questions that were previously asked, and some team lives in there, and a lot of questions that were being answered in there also as well. And Gabriel asked the question, but I think Gabriel left early, asking if I heard about the AI to replicate news during the week. I'm yet to look into that. I think that was one of the news out there. And then also CVE. So I even forgot about that question. I asked CVE, and I think I got carried away by the 0 day. So, and more congrats in here for Matt. And then Pam joining us from London, Dallas. We have Gabriel joining us from Texas. Festus, Team Live, Maryland, Zoom user. Your name wasn't on there, so I couldn't really give you that shout out. And then we have Fred joining us from Texas, Ike joining us from San Antonio, from Ohio, Aaron and David from Columbus, Ohio, George from Houston, George, also another George, Osei Brema joining us from Ghana. And I think, okay, good evening from Rose. And I think that is about it. So appreciate, Nicole joining us from Georgia, right? I didn't miss Nicole on that one. Appreciate everybody's time. Hopefully you got something for your toolbox. We are wrapping up for tonight. And next week, we are going to be back with another educative edition of Eretmis Cyber Chat. Stay blessed and have a wonderful weekend, everyone.